give the opening statement from Coach and then take questions after. So raise your hands, please.
Yeah, we just came off like somebody told me it's the fifth time in the last 40 years of college basketball, the stretch that we just ran through. So, we're got one game left before Christmas. A lot to learn from the last three games. This last game I thought we did a good job for a large part of the game, built a 7-point lead up against Arizona, and then we just kind of fell apart. So we've had, I think, we had 4 of our 5 losses. We've had at least a 6-point lead in the second half with a good chance to win, and then we've kind of fell apart. So our point of emphasis, we got to do this. What we can do for 28 to 32 minutes, we've got to be able to do for the final 40. Now, Eastern Kentucky's coming in. Obviously, they haven't played high major schedule like we played. They play a lot differently than anything we've seen. They press, they trap. He's in the Patino tree where they coached under Keats, who coached under Patino. So they've got the different types of presses going. We just had an issue with turnovers against Arizona. From that under 16 to under 8 media timeout, we had 14 possessions and turned the ball over on 9 out of the 14. So, which is right where we went from up 7 to down 9 or whatever it was in the stretch. So we have to do a better job taking care of the ball. This is a team that turns people over a lot. They play hard, they press, they trap, they guard the 2-point line well. They're one of the worst teams in the country in 3-point percentage defense, but we didn't shoot the ball very well from 3 last game. So we will have a chance to try to make some threes, but we got to do a better job getting to the free throw line and taking care of business there. So, looking forward to playing the game. It'd be nice to get a win going into Christmas before everybody goes home for a few days, and we get back and kind of reconvene with the Liberty game before we head into the SEC play.
Nick.
Yeah, obviously the talent level you guys just faced in these past 3 games is really high, but do you sense that the team's discouraged at all by that, or where do you think the team's at mentally, even though it was obviously a tough stretch?
Yeah, we're a little disappointed we didn't get any wins. We schedule those tough teams to get big wins. We didn't get any. I think disappointed, frustrated would be words I'd describe, the players, the staff. I think they understand that we did play a tough schedule. We made the point to them today that 3 years ago when we won the first time we won the SEC regular season tournament, both we lost to Western Kentucky about the same time. Here, these 5 teams we've lost to are not Western Kentucky. Purdue's number 1 in the country. Arizona's been number 1 in the last 2 weeks. Creighton's been a top 10 team. Clemson's top 10 team. And Ohio State's one of the best teams in the Big Ten. So we've lost to 5 really good teams, but we have lost. We got to figure out ways to win. So I think we're a little discouraged, a little frustrated, a little disappointed with the fact we haven't been able to come up with one. But there's also, 3 years ago after we lost to Western Kentucky, I think we started the league 10-0. So, we can come in, get 2 wins going into league play, get on a run in league play, and take off from there. So that's the plan, what we're trying to accomplish right now.
Joe.
Coach, 3 games in a row, you've had front court foul troubles. What has been the thought process, or the coach's thought process about protecting the bigs as you go further into the season?
Yeah, foul trouble is the understatement. They both fouled out, and I think last game might have been the most minutes they played combined, about 32 minutes combined. So they're averaging 10 fouls per right around 30 minutes, which is not great. So, we played 3 really good bigs, which is a little bit of the issue. But like against Creighton, Pringle had all of his fouls on guards. They weren't on Kalkbrenner. So kind of switched our pick and roll coverage up from Creighton to Arizona. We were a lot more aggressive up in the pick and roll so that the guards weren't coming downhill at the bigs, putting a bunch of pressure on the bigs to stay vertical and not foul. I thought it worked. And then all of a sudden we just start collecting fouls again on other stuff, in the post they're wrestling with following the post and pick up some fouls, and just some other ways that they got some fouls. So, we're going to keep trying to adjust, but those guys got to do a better job adjusting the way the game's called and keep their hands off people. Like, they can't keep buying them shot fakes. They've got to keep their hands off people. They got to go vertical when it's time to go vertical. They can't be twisting. So they've got to do a better job not fouling, and we're going to continue to try to help them, put them in spots where we don't have our starting center and backup center both fouling out of every game.
Charlie.
Yeah, Coach, kind of piggybacking off what Nick asked earlier, just where do you think the confidence and morale is after 3 straight losses?
Yeah, I think the guys are confident knowing that we're one of the best teams in the country for large parts of the game. I mean, I told them, you look at the, there's all kinds of different sites you can go to look at analytics. The sites that measure efficiency, if you looked at total possessions over the course of the year from everybody in the country, most of those sites have us still top 10 in the country. But sites that, are measuring more wins and losses, we're not close in the polls, we're not getting any votes anywhere because we haven't figured out a way to win games. So our offense is still the most efficient offense in the country. Our defense is nowhere close to where it needs to be. Fouling and rebounding are a big part of that. We can fix both of those, I believe, and get our defense up to where it needs to be. And then we've got to show some grit, some fight, some competitiveness, particularly when it comes down to the last 8-12 minutes. Like, we looked at our numbers, first 28 minutes of the game, we've literally been one of the top 5-10 teams in the country. Last 12 minutes of the games, we've completely fallen apart. And I mean, if you look at really break the numbers down, it's bad. I mean, we go from one of the best to one of the worst teams in the country from the first 28 minutes to the last 12. So these guys have to figure out ways to win games when they're a little bit fatigued. The other team's fatigued as well. And, sometimes Vince Lombardi quote, "Fatigue makes cowards of us all." Like, we got to be a little tougher when we get a little fatigued, and we got to show some determination, some fight, some competitiveness, some winning characteristics when it comes time to win these games after we built up a lead. I mean, 4 of our 5 losses, we've had at least 6-point lead in the second half and couldn't maintain it. So I think they're confident in knowing that we can be one of the best teams, but we've got to prove to ourselves that we know how to win these tight games.
Kurt.
I don't want this to sound snarky because I'm not meaning it that way, but after the Arizona game, you said, I think, I don't want to misquote you, that Sam Walters needed to get better on defense, maybe to get more. And I was wondering, really, who is playing good defense right now?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, when we say Sam needs to get better, like, you're obviously going to compare him to everybody else on the team. So Sam was the one guy that shot it well. He's shot it well all year, shooting almost 50% from 3. He's at a foul rate. Our biggest issues on defense are fouling. Mo Wagi's got the highest foul rate, one of the highest in the country. Before last game, I think he was at like 9.1 or something per 40. Sam Walters was right behind him at like 7 fouls per 40 minutes, and then Pringle was 3rd on the team. So, Sam's the only perimeter guy that's got a ridiculous foul rate like our front court does. He's got to learn how to keep his hands off. He's got to learn how to play without getting beat. His rotations off the ball got to get better. So, to answer your question, who is playing well, I think Rylan Griffin's established himself as our best perimeter defender night in and night out. And even he's got to get better. I mean, he had too many possessions. He wasn't great against Arizona. Latrell Reitzel's proven that he can be. These last 2 games, he has not been as good as we need him to be either, but him and Rylan have been our 2 best perimeter defenders. Mark and Aaron have proven they're capable of it. They show spurts where they're great defenders. And again, they're a little bit inconsistent with it. And then, our front court, when they can stay out of foul trouble, has shown they're capable of being solid defenders. You see some spectacular plays from both those guys. I'm thinking of the play where Waigi jumps off the ground after he kind of falls down, gets knocked down in the middle of paint, and blocks Paolo's shot like a second later. Like, he's got those capabilities. He also has the capability to foul out in 7 minutes. So we've got a lot of guys that have the potential to be solid defenders right now. I probably Ryland's the one guy we're happiest with, and everybody else has to get a lot better.
Try to-
Yeah, Coach. Grant Nelson seemed to have a much better second half against Arizona. Do you think that's maybe big to build his confidence after maybe a little bit of a rush stretch?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, he's a capable shooter. He hasn't really caught fire yet. I think he's got a lot more in him. We want him to attack the rim a lot more. A couple of those threes he missed, he had guys closing to him. He needs to attack those, get to the paint. He's shooting 93% from the free throw line. Even the dunk he missed in the game, you know, that I was happy he's aggressive attacking the rim. The more he attacks the rim like that, the better he gets fouled. I think hopefully that second half will give him some confidence going in, because he played great early in the year, and then he's kind of had a couple rough games and didn't finish at the rim particularly well. A couple of them, but he's got to keep attacking the rim and trying to play athletic like he did on that dunk attempt against Arizona.
Anyone else?
All right,
Thanks.
appreciate it. See you guys Saturday, tomorrow.